Have you ever wondered what might happen if a cow sneezes? Let's find out.
The Day the Cow Sneezed by James Flora. I'll bet your cow never sneezed a hole in the schoolhouse wall. Our cow did. Our old cow Floss sneezed so hard that she tore down the city hall, opened up the zoo, and scared the whole city of Sassafras Springs, all with one sneeze. Of course, it wasn't really old Floss's fault that she sneezed so hard. My brother Fletcher is the one to blame. Every morning before he goes to school, Fletcher takes our cow Floss down to the creek for a drink of water. One morning, while old Floss was drinking, my brother Fletcher spied a little rabbit hopping across the pasture. He always wanted a pet rabbit, so he lit out after him. He chased it at least a mile, but he couldn't catch it because even a baby rabbit can run faster than a boy. While he was gone, Floss drank too much water, and she got chilled standing in the cold creek. When Fletcher put her back in the barn, she was shaking and shivering. She was shaking so much she could barely eat her morning hay. Her nose got redder and began to itch. Her eyes watered, her throat tickled. Ka-ka-ka-chew! She sneezed. A mouse was sleeping in Floss's hay. That powerful sneeze blew him right out of bed. The cat saw the mouse, leaped at it, missed, and landed on the billy goat. When the billy goat felt the cat clawing at his back, he raced out of the barn and down the road in a fearful fright. Bam! He bowled over the pig. Pow! He knocked down the mailman and the mailbox too. Crash! He bashed into a motorcycle policeman. The policeman fell off and the billy goat landed on the motorcycle. Down the road they flew, over the bridge, up the hill, through the woods, and over the cliff by Jack Makemason's barn. They fell with a flip-flop and a loop-the-loop and landed on a steamroller. Now, everyone knows that a billy goat doesn't know how to drive a steamroller. Neither does a cat, nor a mouse for that matter. So the steamroller was able to go wherever it wanted, and away it went at full speed. First, it flattened a few trees. Then it mashed a street lamp, a fire plug, and a laundry truck. The mayor and the policeman tried to stop it, but they couldn't catch it. The steamroller charged right on through the park and picked up a statue and a cannon. It knocked over City Hall and 2 stores. Then it tore right through the schoolhouse wall. Fletcher was reciting in social studies, and when he saw our cat and our billy goat on the steamroller, he jumped on too and tried to stop it, but he couldn't find the right lever. Crash! They went through the other wall of the school and ripped down the street. Bing, bang, smash, tinkle, iron deer, picket fences, trains, gas stations, ice cream trucks, everything was scrunched as flat as cornflakes. Kablooey blam! They ripped through the fence around the zoo. My, what a mess! They broke the cages right and left, freeing all the animals. The elephant tried to stop the roller, but the roller was too strong, and it really changed the look of that elephant. In fact, the roller changed the looks of just about every animal in the zoo. It put a zigzag in the giraffe's neck, flattened the moose's horns, pressed a large alligator, bent the rhino's snout. Curly-cued the octopus, made a crinkly lion, and flattened a fat elephant. All the other animals jumped on top of the steamroller as fast as they could. It was the only safe place to be. Stop! Everyone was shouting, but the steamroller kept right on at full speed. It ran through the pond in the park and changed all the fish. It mashed a tree and changed a few birds. Then it started for the merry-go-round. Whambo! It missed the merry-go-round but crashed into the big Ferris wheel. All the animals and my brother Fletcher jumped and clutched at the seats of the big wheel. They were happy to leave that crazy steamroller. They thought they were safe and sound, but the steamroller had knocked the big Ferris wheel off its base and it started to roll away. Whoa! Shouted Fletcher, but the wheel was rolling so fast nobody could hold it. It ran over the popcorn, peanut, cotton candy, and lemonade stands, and food flew everywhere. At least they wouldn't be hungry. Out of town, they rolled and down a big hill, picking up speed. People ran out of their houses. They thought a tornado was coming, or that the moon had fallen. Cars and trucks stopped on the road, and the drivers dived into the ditches. Cows fainted, horses ran away. It was a sight to see. A big truck got tangled in the Ferris wheel and was carried along too. Fletcher didn't know what was in the truck until a little later, when they scattered some Boy Scouts and rolled over their campfire. Zip, bam, zowie! Then he knew what was in the truck. Fireworks for the 4th of July. Great gobs of fireworks began to blow off. The noise was frightful. Fletcher had to stuff his fingers into his ears. It was so loud you couldn't have heard a lion roar if he had been sitting next to you. The wheel raced through a farmyard, zipping rockets through the barn. Down the side of a mountain they rolled, faster and faster. At the bottom lay the Atlantic Ocean. Fletcher hugged a hippopotamus sitting next to him because hippos are very good swimmers. Crunch, zip, swish, the wheel rolled off the mountain onto a long dock. At the end of the dock was a fishing boat. The wheel rolled onto the boat, and out to sea they went, scattering rockets right and left. Fish popped their heads out of the water to see what was happening. The fisherman who owned the boat telephoned for the fireboat to come to the rescue. "Hello? Help!" he shouted into the phone. "A mountain full of monsters with fur hides and long snouts just stole my boat, and they are shooting cannon and squirting fire all over the ocean." Fletcher's floating wheel was shooting so many rockets and fireworks that the fireboat couldn't get near them at first. Finally, it dashed in, and with all nozzles squirting and splashed water all over Fletcher and his passengers and put out the fireworks. When the fireboat came closer, the crew saw Fletcher all wet and cold, sitting there in that big wheel hugging a hippopotamus. They had to laugh. They roared and howled. Then they took Fletcher and all the animals to shore and sent them home in trucks. When the truck came home to our house, the driver climbed out and talked to Papa. While he talked, I could see Papa's face getting darker and darker, and I sure began to feel sorry for old Fletcher. When he finally climbed out of the truck, Papa took him by the ear. They marched into the barn and closed the door. I guess you know what happened to Fletcher in there. I'll bet you my best jackknife that Fletcher won't be neglecting his duties and chasing rabbits again. He learned a lesson that day. He found out that a little teeny-weeny error can grow into a whopping big mistake, almost before you can say, "Ka-choo!"
That's not really what happens when a cow sneezes, but I can tell you that farmers do check their cows several times a day to make sure that they're always healthy and always happy. And I will see you next time.